Hello and welcome to the Great Southern Ancient Miniature Man channel. This is an exciting day. These are the new Thureophoroi from Victrix. 28mm plastic figures, 36 dudes in the bag. Can make up a lot of these nice looking figures. Let's see what they are all about. So the Thureophoroi, you might be aware, are medium infantry, medium heaviness, that is, from the Hellenistic period. They were very versatile. They could act almost like peltasts with a number of javelins. They could act kind of like a light phalanx, because they often had spears, and they also carried swords. So they were very popular throughout a lot of the armies in the Hellenistic period. So think of the Ptolemaic armies, the Seleucids, the Antigonids, Pergamon, Greco-Bactrian kingdom, all over really. So you can do a whole lot of different cultures and a whole lot of different colour schemes and so on. Speaking of colour schemes, I really like this. This is a fairly new innovation. In fact, this is the first Victrix kit that I've got that has this. I have seen it on other ones, but the colour coding of all the pieces, got to be honest, in the past I never tended to bother with their instructions. I just stuck bits together and worked out what seemed to fit. But this is a better way to do it, I think, and it might make it easier to actually construct them as intended, although it's still always good fun to just sort of wing it or kit bash it a bit. So let's have a look at the sprues. They're all the same. You get 36 guys, 6 figures per sprue, so 6 is 36. All fairly attacking poses, you will notice. This guy perhaps the least vigorous, but all kind of leaning forwards and thrusting and attacking. You have enough shields for everyone, and 3 different types of Thureo shields. The Thureophoroi bit, Thureo bit is this oval shield, you're probably aware, from Galatian origin. It is the Gauls who came into central Anatolia and impressed the sort of successor armies by their capacity, and so these units were kind of modelled on them to a large degree. So what have we got on the sprue? Usual arrangement of heaps of different heads, and you've got some pretty cool ones here. I noticed, it must be on this end, you've got one with the horns, a bit like classic sort of Pyrrhus of Epirus helmet. You've got one of the fairly ornate ones with some extra stuff on the front there, and then you've got a whole lot of extra crest you can add or not. Lots of extra scabbards of various different designs, which is very nice, and enough capes for everyone to have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they do come with this design where you've got the cape at the back and then the bit around the neck, which will be interesting to see how well they fit together. And you've got 2 guys whose right leg is detached, and then you've got 1, 2, 3 different legs available, so you can vary that a little bit. It seems an interesting design. Never quite understand the purpose of that. It seems like a bit of extra work without a lot of extra like customization, but I'll put them together and see what I think once I've done it. You've got heaps of javelins, you've got heaps of longer spears, banners, trumpet. What else we got? Lots of different types of swords, copper sword, regular short sort of Xiphos sword. So yeah, there's a stack of different ones that are ready to make a whole variety of interesting troops. There were, in terms of Thureophorois, there's quite a few other options in metals, particularly from Warlord Games, but they're a little bit smaller. I'll do some size comparisons later. There's some nice ones from Blitzkrieg, 3D printed ones, slightly bigger. A while back, War Games Atlantic suggested they were going to do a plastic set, but so far it has not come to fruition. So at the moment, this is the only plastic set of Thureophoroi on the market. So I'm going to enjoy putting some together, and as the usual scheme, I will do that, show you what I think and how they go together, and then I will paint them up and show you the end results. All right, back very soon. Nearly forgot, I did also get some of these nice shield transfers that come for them. So these sort of Seleucid ones with an anchor style emblem on there, some more generic Hellenistic ones with the star Macedonian sort of star, all red and mostly red and white, and then a few more very varied sort of designs. So yeah, they're beautiful shield transfers as Little Big Man Studios makes. I will do some freehand ones as well. So what have I got? 12, no, 4 by 3 is 12, yeah. 24, 36. Oh, I've got enough for all of them to have these shield transfers. There you go. Must have been thinking ahead. Anyway, but I'll still do a few freehanders. So back soon. Well, hello. This is phase 2. So I have now prepared one sprue's worth. So 6 of these Thureophoroi. And we'll just get a look at them and talk about the process. So essentially the color-coded coordinated sort of guide was helpful, but not an idiot-proof thing. I still struggled to get a few of the angles right and some of the heads in position and so on. The hardest bit I found was aligning their capes nicely. So at the back here, you see they've got the back section of the cape and then the sort of collar section around, and I've struggled a bit to kind of have a natural seamless blend at the corners. I think I will put some putty on the green stuff probably just to smooth that over. Some awesome helmets, heaps of nice plumes. This one of the best helmets. Yeah, that was the only thing really, the only issue. I think Victrix slowly getting better and better with their production, then they have less seam lines that need cleaning. There was a tiny bit on these guys, but way less than they used to in the old, say earlier Greek hoplite sets. Let's have a look at size comparison. Speaking of Greek hoplites, this is from the latest Greek hoplite set, so the scale is perfect there as you'd expect, one Victrix to another. But what about with some other manufacturers? So this is a Thureophoroi by Aventine. And in terms of scale, I think height is perfect. Probably just a little bit chunkier dimensions, but not much in it. They could go together, I'd say, quite happily. Another slightly bigger guy would be the Blitzkrieg resin one. And again, height is good, really. No problems, I'd say, with the height. He's just, again, he's a bit chunky on the steak and kidney pie diet versus this guy on the bread and water for a few weeks. So yeah, he's a big boy, but they're okay to go together. And then opposite end of the scale would be Warlord Games Metal Thureophoroi, who are a little bit slimmer, but actually when you look at them side by side there's not a big difference. I thought it'd be more marked than that. He's a little bit slimmer. Height again is absolutely excellent, perfect. Let's see with a different guy whether he looks a bit slimmer in comparison. Yeah, he does look a little bit slimmer there, so I'd say maybe a few percent, 3 or 4% less pie diet. They're looking good. Anyway, I'm going to get to work, paint them up, come back, show you the full action. See you then. Here we go, a few days later, and I've finished off this little set of 6 Thureophorois, of which I enjoyed the process very much. They are very cool. I've done a few without capes, just because, well, I'll show you in a minute. I actually used a couple of the capes for other figures. The shield transfers have come up very nicely. Done a little bit of variety on the color schemes and a bit of variety on the helmet coloration as well as the fancy boots that they wore. The biggest difficulty with them was that collar setup. I don't know why Victrix does that. Maybe I guess it gives more flexibility having both the collar and the sort of separate bit, but it was a pain to put them together, and all of them needed some putty. I'll put some still photos up of how I sort of puttied up the edges to align them a bit better and make them look a little bit more smooth at the edges. They've done similar ones, say with the Dacians. I don't remember, they were really tricky to get the two sides of some of their cloaks together. I prefer their design where it's just a single thing with a hoop, like a hoop section, and you just stick that on first, then put the head through that. That works a lot easier and better, I reckon. Anyway, that's a minor detraction. Nice banner bearer. and the shield or the transfer. Each of those sets of 12 has a banner transfer as well. As I mentioned in the initial bit, they're all very attacking, so, you know, it would have been nice to have one or two more. Like, this guy's relatively passive, but would have been a bit, I like a few more guys who are standing around rather than all charging in. This guy's probably my favourite of the lot with the horned helmet. He's a real dude. So yeah, I'm happy with them. They're good. They're very nice. They like all Victrix stuff, you know, great quality, heaps of extra stuff and good value for money. And as I think I mentioned before, that there's less and less lines on them that you have to clean off, so that doesn't take very long anymore. The Thureophoroi, it's a little bit controversial exactly whether they were ever armoured or not. A lot of the depictions in various sources show them with the linothorax, for example. So I decided I should do a couple of guys in that style, which I've done here. This is actually an Agama miniature. And I try to use the capes on them, but you can see the back of the cape obviously can stick on, but then the collar section just wouldn't fit on these different designs. This is a Victrix Greek hoplite, one of the earlier ones, so the more passive ones. And again, it just wouldn't fit on him at all. I guess they might have designed them to fit both, but it seems not. So I've made those front parts, the collar section, with green stuff, which didn't work out very well, to be honest. I'm not thrilled with how those guys have come up. But yeah, as I say, there's a little bit of controversy in the literature and amongst historians whether Thureophorois ever were armoured, or whether any armoured sort of version of that actually amounted to a thoracitai. They're usually depicted in chainmail, the thoracitai, but perhaps these guys were also called that in ancient times. It's hard to know. It does make me wonder whether the Victrix have a plan to produce another kit of thoracitai, or perhaps Thracians. They were sort of speculated. They did mention they were going to produce another kit that they'd announce soon of ancients, so I would guess it would be one of those two, so either one would be awesome. So yeah, there they are. They're great. I'm going to put up some still photos of them. I'll put a few photos of other things, like some nice ancient source material of images of Thureophoroi, and some of those ones of me putting up some of these guys. So there you go. Let me know what you reckon, and like and subscribe. Many more videos are in the works already and will be coming out your way pretty soon. Au revoir.